Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a different video for me to film today. I figured I'd actually make a somewhat actually leftist video, and that means that I'm going to be making a makeup tutorial inspired by protection rollbacks on cool Reclamation streams. So, to kind of give the vibe about how I'm going to do this, we're going to start with a nice blue all over the lid look. The Saharan too has a beautiful blue, aqua blue right here, clear blue right here. It's gorgeous, it's everything I dream about, I love it. So I'm going to take this blue, I'm just gonna put it like, you know, all over the lid. Isn't that such a pretty color? Isn't it so lovely? And I'll even actually, like add a little bit of a greenish color to it too, because, there are multiple organisms in there, because it's a stream that's capable of sustaining life. And then I'm going to go over all of that with a bunch of mountaintop removal. That means brown. I'm going to go over it with this right here. Oh yeah, this is really making things much better for everyone involved. Look at all that economic growth. Don't we love our coal mines, fellas? Okay, now that we have that in, you know what this look really needs? Some sulfur. Yes, whenever the coal mines are situated near streams, massive amounts of sulfur deposits are added. Now, I don't have a true yellow, so I'm just going to go into my Orange You Glad palette, and I'm just going to go into the closest thing there is to yellow here, which is this Rise and Grind color. This is going to go right over where that pretty blue once was. Oh yeah, I love this. So, after that, there's a bunch of iron added, because that's part of the mining process. You add a lot of iron. So I'm just going to go in with this rust color right here. Now, you're kind of wondering, is there any greenness left in these in this stream? Now, funny you should say that, because the tolerance for sustaining life in most streams, or at least vertebrate life, is about 5 pH. Where I live, our stream, we call it affectionately the Sulphur Creek. It is a pH of 4.5. And that's right now. I've seen streams that have even worse outlooks of things. So, after that, now we're going to talk about more damage being done, which means adding coal dumps. You see, whenever there's mountaintop removal, whenever there's a bunch of coal, there's usually a giant bony dump of low quality coal, and this can end up in the stream. This is very bad for all parties involved. I'm going in to my Saharan palette and going in with Chad, this dark black right here. It's a lovely color, but I mean, not necessarily for a water-inspired look. So all this happens, and then the coal runs out inevitably, because that's what limited resources do. So, do you know what what they usually do after this? Well, companies will usually pack it up and do nothing for the water. And whenever there's land involved, they'll just turn it into a golf course, because there's a loophole in Pennsylvania law that says you don't have to properly reclaim land as long as you're doing commercial development with it. So that's why there's a whole lot of golf courses in Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't even know that there is a lot of golf courses in Pennsylvania, but they're all over the place. And that's why, because despite being one of the coldest states with the harshest winters, we still have a whole lot of golf courses here. So let's say about 30 years pass, and because of the efforts of a conservation district, things are starting to get good again. The pH in some water bodies might come back up to 6. You'll see a couple of fish there. You'll at least start to see microinvertebrates again all year round instead of just for breeding season. And then Trump cuts protections of water bodies and says that you can dump whatever shit you want into the waters. Let me show you what that's like all over again. This is a huge problem where I'm at. It's impacted the health of hundreds of children because we still have lead pipes in my hometown, and because of those lead pipes and a acidic water source, there's a large problem of lead poisoning where I am. Because despite living in a mostly white town, it's a mostly poor town because the mines left 40 years ago whenever we ran out of coal. It's really important that we talk about the issues that are affecting us beyond the concentration camps. I think that it's super important to talk about how Appalachia, despite being one of the most reddish areas, is one of the ones suffering the most directly from the impacts of climate change and the lack of development to help with climate change. Because we don't have a lot. There are entire towns without any stormwater infrastructure. Whenever I was doing my internship, we checked on a complaint about a mother and her daughter who, after a storm, would have their entire house flooded up to the porch. And the mom was so desperate to have her daughter have something to do that she just set a kayak out in the backyard. It's not rare for us to have these awful, glaring issues where you wouldn't think that this would happen here, but coal country is still very much bearing the scars of the coal boom back then. And still today, because there are still mining jobs up here. And this is what happens whenever things don't get regulated. This is what happens. You get poisoned children. You get a massive population of children with asthma. You get these awful schools because we live in a poor town that you wouldn't think would be, that end up with these awful educations and high teen pregnancy rates, and everything kind of has a little bit of a root back to why this all happens. So if anyone cares about us out here, and anyone cares about us just outside of staying, well, the coal jobs aren't back. What are you going to do now? We don't know. We don't know what we're going to do.
They said I'm an anarchist, I'm an anarchist, anarchist, no ladder over kids.